June is the month that we celebrate Juneteenth and Father's Day. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Pro-Life Praise with Evangelist Alveda King. It's June and we're celebrating Juneteenth and Father's Day. It's been more than a year now. We started Pro-Life Praise in March of 2020, right when COVID had hit. And we've gone through a whole year of experiences and holidays and ups and downs. We've lost some friends to COVID. Some people have been sick with COVID. And yet now here we are in 2021, the month of June. People are recovering somewhat, getting out more. Somebody asked me today, is your mom getting out now? And she is. Is she accepting visitors? Sometimes. So this summer is a little different from last summer. We're right now in a season of celebrating Juneteenth and Father's Day. Now, Juneteenth, as many people know now, because when President Trump, during his last months of his presidency, had celebrated Juneteenth, he had also talked about the Tulsa race wars and all of that. We wrote our book during that time, Black and Brown Americans in Search of the American Dream. And we talked about Juneteenth and reparations in that book. So June is an important month, thinking about independence. And then, of course, next month, July, 4th of July will come. And so I said, well, which one do we talk about? Do we talk about Father's Day or do we talk about Juneteenth? I asked myself, why not bring a father who can talk about Juneteenth? I immediately thought about YG Nyghtstorm, but why don't we bring YG on himself and let him talk? Hey, YG.
Hey, how you doing, Evangelist? How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. You know, have you been traveling since COVID 2020, 2021? Have you been doing any traveling at all?
Well, I've been doing some traveling. I've been mainly taking care of my children. I was at my adult children because, you know, I was in D.C. and I had to come back home because I honestly miss my adult kids. I know. Call me soft.
I'm an old lady who misses mine. I do too, you know. So I'm your spiritual God, Mom. I've got some years on you, but I miss my adult children. And one is 50. He's like, seriously, Mom? Yes, I get it.
It is what it is, but yeah, I've been traveling, doing stuff on behalf of the church and honestly trying to help people around the country who have gotten through not just issues with politics, but also issues dealing with darkness in their families, how men can reconnect with their kids, also how they can partner with their moms and successfully co-parent even after divorce, because that is so perilously important in our society right now. We need the moms and the dads to stop butting heads, get along, and love each other better, and also love the kids more than they hate each other. So
now we're about to talk about Juneteenth and Father's Day, but I want to say this. Yes. As a mother and a grandmother, as an ex-wife who's been married more than once, you've heard me say I'm like the woman at the well, woman caught in the act, and Jesus came in and redeemed my life from destruction. Yeah. But what I learned as a mother of 6 living children and 11 grandchildren, ladies, don't ever look at your children and say, you're just like your daddy. He wasn't worth anything and you won't be either. Don't say things like that to your children, because see, the children have part dad and part mom. And they love dad and they love mom. And so, as a matter of fact, at the end of this show, I'm going to show a clip from my show, Alveda King's House, with my daughter talking about her daddy. I'm going to do that. And we're going to show a clip about you and your daughter graduating too. That's down the road a little bit in the show today. But first, though, I want you to talk first, YG, about Juneteenth. Because, you know, when President Trump was president, he talked about Juneteenth from the White House. He also talked about the Tulsa race wars from the White House. No other president had really done that. So people, Juneteenth, what's that? Why is he talking about Juneteenth? YG, let's talk about Juneteenth a little bit, please.
Okay, and I also like that segue in because it was very significant for President Trump to talk about Juneteenth from the pulpit of the White House. Okay, it is the biggest, they call it the bully pulpit, but it is the most amplified places for the most powerful voice in the world to speak. And when President Trump was talking about these issues, like in Tulsa, but also talking about Juneteenth, 1865, imagine it, 1865, Galveston, Texas, okay, and Abraham Lincoln had already signed the Proclamation of Emancipation in 1863. So it took an entire 2 years, and folks in Texas, black people in Texas, didn't even know that they was free.
They didn't have Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, but they didn't find out until 2 years later, almost 3 years later. That's exactly right.
Exactly. Okay. And the craziest thing is, like the media today, unfortunately, the media back then, whose job it was to inform people, they also kept this stuff hidden to keep, unfortunately, black people ignorant, just to keep them to where they are. So it's like a carousel thing. Well, what happened in 1865 is still kind of happening in 2021 for some reason, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But I would say this: when they found out that they were actually free, they didn't really believe it at first, because it was something that wasn't really technically supposed to happen. But the beautiful thing about God in this issue with Juneteenth, on celebrating the struggles of slavery and all the hardships that families were going through and black people were going through, black men, black women, black children were going through, and to suddenly find themselves in a situation where now they are in charge of improving their own lives by taking up their own mantles and going to wherever they wanted to be and not limited.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of the time of Queen Esther, when Haman had gotten the decree from the king to kill all the Jews. Now, he couldn't even take that back. He had to leave it. But he said, but I tell you what, all of you could pick up your own weapons, and you could go out, and anybody threatens you, you can kill them, you see? So the people were so ready and scared and ready to be oppressed that at first they were like, it's shocking, not knowing how to be free. So sometimes we have to help people understand what freedom and liberty looks like. Now, I'm going to switch this up a little bit, but I know you will agree with me. Today, we need a Juneteenth for the babies in the womb, don't we?
Exactly. And when I was having a discussion with a very liberal black feminist, and she was saying, YG Nyghtstorm, I can't stand what you talk about, with being pro-life and everything. And out of everything that's going on with our children being murdered in the streets and everything, how can you even talk about that? I said, well, let me ask you this, sister. Let me ask you a question. I said, for one, do you believe in God? And she said, well, yeah, okay. I said, well, also, let me ask you this one more thing. If we are so callous with killing our children in the womb, why are we shocked that they are so callous with killing us outside of it? I said, think of that. I said, of all the violence that we got going on, okay, and a lot of the killings are not going on by racist white cops, okay, 98% of the homicides are coming from us. And our children are murdering each other and murdering us, the parents, and murdering the grandparents. They don't care. So you wonder, this is a spiritual thing. This is deeper than politics, sister. This is deeper than any of the stuff that y'all want to talk about, and jump on all this stuff. I said, look, let's look at it deeply in a spiritual way. If you have a baby terrified in the womb, and this has happened over 22 million times in our community alone, we wonder why, once these children are freed from the womb and in the world, there is a violent nature that they now want to commit upon the older generation that did not protect it. So, and it got deeper, and then she got quiet on me. And she said, I don't want to talk to you no more. I'm like, this sounds good, sister. God bless you.
But you know what? And that is why I called you and asked you to be on this show today. As a civil rights expert, as a dad, and raising children after divorce, it is challenging. Now, I do want to encourage folks to go to our bookstore and at priestforlife.org, and the store is there for you. I've got my book, King Rules, over there in the store, and you can get information over at Priest for Life, how to view the movie, Roe v. Wade, the movie. And you can also visit YG Nyghtstorm's website. Can you give us the name of your website, YG?
Yes, ma'am. Nyghtstorm.com. It's NYGHTSTORM.com. And notice I put the YG in the night. It's NYGHTSTORM. Nightstorm.
YG
Yeah.
Nyghtstorm, absolutely.
Yeah.
So visit our bookstore at priestforlife.org and visit YG. I want to show real quick the trailer because I try to connect, and I do connect, and YG does too. Juneteenth, freeing people because of skin color, when actually we're only one human race. Skin color, it denotes ethnicity, not race. There's one human race. And the human race includes babies in the womb, and it includes all the way to the tomb. So visit us at our bookstore. Let's watch the Roe v. Wade trailer.
We will hear arguments in Roe against Wade. You may proceed.
If you really want to know how abortion became legal in our country, I will tell you the true story.
Dr. Mildred Jefferson, would you like to head up a Right to Life group that I'm starting?
Dr. Bernard Nathanson's clinics are performing 1,000 abortions per week. That's why I'm taking up the fight.
I wanted to get abortion legalized across the country.
We're looking for a pregnant girl to challenge the abortion laws. We'll give her a pseudonym. Call her Jane Roe.
It's genius that we no one will ever know about her past.
First, they came after the Jews, and then they came after the mentally deficient. We did nothing. And now they're coming after the unborn. And so you're gonna do nothing?
Robert Byrd for Henry Wade.
No judge or jury in their right mind would ever let abortion happen in Texas.
You've been watching too much TV. This case has nothing to do with women's rights.
It's God's duty to forgive. It's ours to rule the law. You're changing your vote because your family found out. Or was it the media?
If we don't sort this out, fur will fly today.
You were trying to control us, Warren, old buddy. That is completely unethical.
In the matter of Roe v. Wade, I want the case re-argued.
Faith in God, respect for his law.
That law being?
Human law. We got the majority. We're gonna win.
Perhaps this is beyond the authority of the Supreme Court.
We are the law of the land.
These girls should not be put through the pregnancy and should be entitled to an abortion.
God, forgive me, what have I done?
The true silent minority. Who is speaking for these children?
I really want people to see that movie, Roe v. Wade. YG, have you seen the movie Roe v. Wade?
I've seen most of it, but once it got to a certain point, honestly, just being honest and transparent, I had to stop once you see the loss of life, of innocent life, because of, personally, it triggered me on what happened to me in 1999 when my own two twins, Howard and Hank, were aborted by my ex-girlfriend. And I am the father of a lot of children, you know, but I've also suffered the loss of 3 children. My oldest, Victor, was killed on his job in 2008, and my twins, Howard and Hank, were aborted in 1999. So when people ask, you know, do fathers feel? Do fathers hurt when they lose their children? Yes, I felt hopeless, and I felt like there was nothing that I could do, and I felt powerless. And fathers, we like to feel like we can rescue our babies. And it just reminded me at a time when I could not. But I encourage people to see the truth. And the truth isn't always pretty with rainbows, but it is very hard hitting. But also look at the grace of God from it and how she was able to move forward with this movement of pro-life, and also how the mother who killed my children many years later followed me and cornered me at one of the places while I was preaching, and she said that she was sorry. So it's the grace of God in this darkness, and it's that light of our Father, and it's the light of Jesus Christ that shines in the hearts of people. All we have to do is maybe just plant the seed, and you let God do the work, and His word never returns void. So I'll say God bless anyone who watches this film. It is something that will change your life.
I agree with that. And listeners and viewers, YG's, the mother of those twin boys, was so angry with YG that she decided to have an abortion. And he didn't want the babies to be aborted, and she was upset. And then years later, she thought about it, realized that, repented, praise be to God, and there's going to be a great reunion in heaven. Now, that was a little sad story. However, I want to share a daddy who was so happy at his daughter's graduation that he cried. Let's watch that video and then let's see what YG could explain about that. Let's watch this video.
I remember when all of your brothers, when Victor was graduating, when Gabby graduated, when Zach graduated, when Ari graduated, when Junior graduated, when Teray graduated, and Gabby graduated, and now you graduating.
It's all of them. You don't got all of us across that stage.
It's a journey, and I'm blessed to be your father.
You want a hug? You want a hug?
I'm blessed to be your father.
Anita, Liz Shea, George.
Woo! Woo! Beautiful. Love you, sweetie.
Love you.
Juan Troy King.
And certify that they have all met all of the Department of Education graduation requirements. Site administrators and all on the stage, please stand and let's congratulate these graduates.
Anybody else who has struggled, gone through adversity to graduate, especially for the ones coming next year, what words of wisdom do you have to share with those folks?
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard, and you're gonna want to give up, and you want to go drop out and get a GED. But don't do it. Don't do it. It's worth it in the end, because you get to walk around with your honors thing halfway on you and just twirl it around. You know why? Because you can. Because you earned it. So good job. Keep going, keep moving, keep pushing, and you'll get there. Right?
That's my little baby.
That's my dad.
All right. Okay, so Ania has graduated. Come step up a little bit, please. Okay, how are you feeling right now? You're the last one of all the 7 children to graduate. How do you feel?
I feel like I'm finally part of the club. I've been initiated, accepted, and it's time to be in the next stage of my life.
That's right. And mommy, how do you feel? The baby is grown and enjoying the older siblings and graduated. How you feeling?
I am proud of her. I'm happy that she's achieved this, what she's been working for so hard.
And we did it. All 7. All right, and thank you, Rika, because Rika was involved as well. And God bless you in heaven, Lando. Thank you so much for everything. All of us parents getting together, co-parenting, raising all these children. And just for one, a whole time's sake, because Button back there, can we sing that Nyghtstorm song?
Hey, yeah.
Living ain't easy, got to hold on, yeah. Trouble giving, but it won't last long. What? Standing together makes us strong.
This is life.
This is life. With the Nyghtstorm, living ain't easy.
Come on, America. Let's get it.
YG, it's okay for men to cry. My granddaddy, Martin Luther King Sr., would cry sometimes. So what were those tears all about, YG?
Well, it was, like I said, it was the culmination of raising the 7 children, okay, and also going through, let's just be real, hell with both ex-wives. But the beautiful thing about it, I told you, God always come through in the darkness and touches the hearts and minds of people. I reached out to both of my ex-wives many years ago. And I said, you know something, we've been at war for a long time, and the only people that's suffering is the children, and the only people getting rich is the attorneys. I said, well, how about this? Let's make a truce, and you guys be mom, and I'll be dad, and let's give these babies something that we did not have. And let's take it a step further than what our parents could probably do, and let's give these kids a fighting chance at life, and let's show them what the love of God looks like by their parents continuing to love and support each other while we support them. And trust me, it actually worked. All that hell we went through, all that drama, it was all over, all good. We all get together for families, family events, with all good. Everybody is all love and support. And I would encourage anyone,
you were so happy at that graduation. So, and we're celebrating Father's Day and Juneteenth. So, dads, if there's any way possible, make that kind of peace that YG is talking about. I kind of have it. I've been divorced 3 times, unfortunately. And I've had children from 2 marriages. And so I encourage, as a mother and a former wife, I say to my children, take the best from both of us, forgive the worst from both of us, and know that we love you at the end of every day, and Jesus always loves you. So I think that's what I saw in that time of jubilation. And your daughter was so sweet. Daddy,
she's a baby. She's the baby of 7, and that's my heart right there. And she's 6 feet tall, and when heels on, when she's doing a modeling thing, she's taller than me. But that's the baby. That's a baby right there.
I get it, and we saw that. Well, now listen, YG, stay with me a few more moments because I want you to see this video. I had a song that I dedicate to my dad, honoring God. Daddy taught the miracles of Christ, my dad, Reverend A.D. King. And I believe there's a little girl that Jesus could turn water into wine, could walk on water, could heal the sick, raise the dead, the lame could leap, the deaf could hear, the blind could see. I believed it because my daddy really preached it. And so I want to walk on water. So we're going to have that music video, Walk on Water. Lead me, stretch out your hand, and call my name, and I will run to you. When I was just a little girl, my daddy, he read to me how Jesus Christ, the Son of God, came down to set us free. Ooh, such miracles beyond belief. Yet Daddy, he said it was true. With faith in God and hope and love, there's so much here for you. Is that you? Then Master, lead me. Yes, that's you. Please, Master, lead me. Stretch out your hand, and call my name. And I will come to you. Once Daddy rescued me from fear out in the clear blue sea. And as I clung to Daddy's neck, God's promise came to me. Such miracles beyond belief. Yet Daddy,
God and hope and love. There's so much here for you. Christ calms the storm, raises the dead, turns water into wine. And at his word, mere mortals do trust, and miracles come in time. The water and the blood, they can wash away the mud. Let me live and breathe and learn to love again. Teach me how to walk on water. Let me live and not be slaughtered. Teach me everything that matters. I will live and not be shattered. Stretch out your hand and call my name, and I will come to. Teach me everything that matters. I will live and not be
That's Walk on Water, honoring my dad who told me Jesus could walk on water. And I would love to walk on water, but even if I don't, Jesus is Lord. How about that? Well, we're about to take the show out now with 2 clips from my show, Alveda King's House, where we are celebrating Juneteenth and Father's Day. And I've had a civil rights expert today on the show, a father, strong voice for life across America and around the world. And so any dads that are going to see this show either before Father's Day or after, and hey, everybody, when you see Juneteenth, we're free. We're one race, not bound by skin color. So now let's fight to let the babies in the womb be free so that Jubilee and Justice and Juneteenth can be here from the womb to the tomb. Thank you for joining us, and we'll take it out with Alveda King's House. Jennifer, I didn't even tell you this, but recently you did something that was incredible and amazing to me. You and your siblings, and that's Eddie and John and Celeste, certainly all of your siblings, noticed that your dad was not really taking care of himself. And that just was unacceptable to you. You didn't like it. I think you bullied him a little bit, but that's okay. You kind of bullied him a little bit when he needed it. Why was it so important? I know there's a scripture that says, honor your father and your mother, that your days will be long upon the earth. And I know you've heard that growing up and that you do that. But why did you go in after your dad with just the full force and insist that he take care of himself? I have not told you that, but that impressed me to no end.
The Bible says, honor your father and mother so that your days will be long on the earth. Now, I don't know exactly who taught me that scripture, but I know that my dad, he lived that. And so I never had the opportunity to meet his dad because his dad passed before I was born. But I saw my dad and I saw you honoring your parents. So for me, it's just second nature. When I got back in town and I saw that my dad had become unhealthy and his health was failing him, and I saw that his practice wasn't as organized as it should have been, I knew right then that God had called me back home to help my family. Mm-hmm. And so it brings me so much joy because the way I live my life, I honor God first, and then I honor my parents.